Courtney. I'm a homeschooling mom and a business owner at As We Walk Along the Road. And today I want to share with you a review of an awesome book that I have just read that is for homeschooling parents. But first I want to ask you a question. What is your main goal for homeschooling, for your children's education? Do you have a goal of just putting as many facts as you can into their heads and exposing them to as many different scientific theories or history dates or math formulas and hoping that they remember all of those? Is that your goal? Because it is likely that that's not going to happen. Do you remember all of the dates that you learned from history over the years? Can you recite all the different scientific laws or formulas that you learned? I know personally, I've never used the Pythagorean Theorem after college algebra, except maybe to help my own kids with it in their math curriculum. So my goal has been to equip my kids to be lifelong independent learners. And I think the kids realize the importance of this as well. I had a talk with my adult son the other night, and he said, I think that school, in the way that it is currently being taught and in the things that are currently being taught, is sort of irrelevant now. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, with the internet, we now have the ability to look up and find out about and learn anything we want to learn about, anything we need to learn about. And he said, I don't remember very many of the facts that I learned throughout my different homeschool years, but I do know how to learn what I need to when I need to learn it. And I was happy because that has been my goal. I don't want to just stick facts in my kids' heads and hope they remember them. I want them to grow up to be independent, lifelong learners who know how to learn things for themselves. I had this experience myself a couple of years ago. I decided that I wanted to raise backyard chickens. Now, I never learned anything about raising chickens in my school years. So I had to go online, I had to find articles, I found forums, all kinds of resources about how to start raising chickens. And I had to learn that on my own. So thankfully, I have been equipped to be a lifelong independent learner because that's the only way that I would have learned that information. It's not something I learned in school. It's not something I memorized and had to hold on to over the years. So if that is one of your goals for your kids, I have the perfect book that you need to read. And this is the book Teach by Dennis DiNoia. I just finished reading this book and it really resonated with me because Dennis DiNoia is talking in this book about some of those things I just talked about helping your kids to be lifelong independent learners. Now, we know Dennis DiNoia from Mr.D Math because several of my kids have taken his math classes in high school. And we really enjoyed learning with Mr. D. I liked his style of teaching, and it was easy for the kids to learn math through him. So I was super excited to see his book Teach. And when I started reading, I was even more excited because this book helps homeschooling parents to really know how to help their kids become independent learners. So he draws on his own experiences in teaching and as a student himself. And he walks us through some practical ways that we can help students become lifelong learners. He talks about understanding that the student really is the teacher. He talks about how to help students check and present their own work. He talks about tests, why we need them, what kind of test we need, how to help your kids be test takers. And he talks about the importance of doing what you love in life and the importance of having a mastermind group, a group of people that you can share ideas with. There's also a bonus chapter all about goal setting that I found just as relevant to me as for my kids. Now, if you are thinking, yes, that sounds awesome, and I would love to help my kids become independent learners, let me tell you some of the things that I really love about this book, besides the fact that, yes, it does touch on that goal that I've always had for my kids in homeschooling. The book is short, so all of us moms who don't have tons of time because we are actively homeschooling our kids, it's easy to read through this book and cover it in a short amount of time. It is written very straightforward and very simply so that it doesn't take a whole lot of mental gymnastics to try to understand what he's talking about. It's a straightforward book, easy read. It also is full of practical, relevant advice. It's not just the theory of creating independent learners, although he does talk about that a little bit, especially as he bases it in his own experience as a student and a teacher. But then he goes into all kinds of practical ideas for helping your students to really develop these skills and become lifelong independent learners. So if that's the goal for your homeschool, or if that's one of your main priorities, then you need to pick up Teach by Dennis DiNoia. You can find out more about the book in the blog post I've linked below, and you can also click on the link to purchase the book. So I encourage you to check out Teach by Dennis DiNoia and learn how you can equip your kids to be lifelong learners.